We'd like to sincerely thank our Patreon supporters.
What's going on, everybody? I am in hallway 2, and as you remember, we finished up the screen on a bunch of these enclosures, and we need to get the enclosures done to move the white throat monitors out of the water monitor row, which will free up 3 enclosures over there for us to shuffle a whole bunch of animals around. In fact, it will allow us to move the male sulfur water monitor next to the 2 young sulfur females. It will allow us to get Bumblebee back from Carl's house and put Bumblebee with Ivy, which produced those really nice calm babies. And that will allow us to put the young female blackthroat next to, I think, my male black dragon, which, I don't know. I'm actually on the fence of whether or not I want her to be with the male albino. Let me know what you guys think. Some people in Indonesia produced some babies by crossing a black dragon and a T negative or a T positive. I think a T positive. It almost looked purple. I mean, not purple, but it was something different altogether. And that may be the next thing that everyone's pursuing, and to have a female. I think she's cycling right now. I would let her lay unfertilized the first time, but then next go around, try putting her with whichever male I decide. She's too small for my male black dragon, but she would be an ideal size for the male albino. So, I don't know. This will open up a bunch of stuff. And I think we're gonna put Frosty and, what did we name this female? Kagan will remind me. I forget. We could put the 2 of them in here. Right now they're sharing 2 small enclosures. This is a large enclosure. I think I can put, this plant is just sitting here temporarily over the ground. If I race and get it in the ground, it will 100% rebound. It lost all its soil by getting knocked over a couple times, but it'll fully come back. So we can get it in the ground. We already have the shelving done, the shade cloth done, the door is done. We just need to finish this wall and then do the hide box slab, the board around the slab, hide box. I'm not gonna do the pass-through door. I will do the frame for it on the other side of the wall so the door can be cut and added later. Jane, she just laid 18 eggs from her and Onyx, and 3 of them were good. They're still good in the incubator right now, but we'll see how long they last. If they stand the test of time, we will see. You know the old saying, don't count your eggs before they hatch. And then the next enclosure, which we'll put Glacier and, gosh, I forget her name too. Just need to get the wood up. Their shelving will go in the back. I do separate the shelving for the big males. Actually, you know what? This one should have went in the back. I will do that. I'll move that shelving. And this hide box slab goes in that corner, so against that same wall. I'll get it loaded, the concrete done, the shelving in here. I believe this door is made, just needs to be hung. So not a massive project. And I'm still not gonna tweak the enclosures for the specific animals yet. And I know that right now, I basically am building the same blueprinted enclosure over and over and over and over. We only have 2 more of those half pine tree logs. I did just lose, I'm sorry, palm tree logs. I did just lose a palm tree in the front. So we have the ability to do this to finish at least the black throat monitor row. But then row 4 is gonna have to be all just wild natural branches, which we're starting to collect. So I do have these last 2 to finish these enclosures. and then we'll have to figure it out from there. And like I said, I have that one palm tree to do. Let's get started.
I'm over here in Alexander's enclosure. We had a variegated dwarf scheffalera plant that we wanted to go ahead and get in the ground here in Alexander's enclosure. He decided that he didn't want the last plant that was in here to be in here. I think it was just a little bit too close to the walls. He really enjoys digging right along these borders. So a lot of the plants that are in here don't make it if they are too close to the wall. So I planted this one a little bit farther out, that way maybe he'll leave this one be. What do you think, Alexander? As I was in here planting it and getting it ready, he was all nosy about it. He had to check out the shovel. He wanted to see what the plant was about, getting underneath the roots. Hey, handsome guy. Hey, buddy. But Jerry's over there in the next enclosure over, getting those boards ready for the separation of the enclosures. Alexander, you're gonna have some neighbors real soon. Yeah, you are, huh? He is definitely one of the most curious and friendly monitors here. Yeah, he's a good boy, huh? He's a good boy. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you. I just happened to walk by Frosty's enclosure here, and he and his lady are sitting here right by the door. Hey, lady. Let me get you to come back in. But I noticed that he is going through a really good shed right now. Holy cow. Let me get you to move off of him, little girl. Yeah, I want to see all that shed. But Frosty is a Cape-banded whitethroat. And man, what are you doing, you silly lizard? There you go. Look how awesome those whites are on him. Wow, he is just exploding, huh? He is just exploding. Scoop. Alright, Frosty. Did you come into the hallway for a minute? Look at the difference in that. It doesn't hurt them at all to have that shed skin removed. In fact, I imagine it feels pretty good.
So, like I was saying before, after all these enclosures are built and we're past the major construction, that's when we can go back and fine-tune each enclosure to each individual species needs. And we can set up more rocks in the rock monitor enclosures. We'll do the permanent water features in all the enclosures, you know, the ones that need more branches and more shelving. Like, we will fine-tune everything. I know I keep getting comments about that, and you know, I don't always have time to respond to every comment. I would love to, but I'm out here doing this. And then sometimes too tired when I get inside. But we will tailor every enclosure to every species needs in the end. That's always been the goal. We just need to get the bones done, and then we can go back. This is the first wall done, and the top board, the bottom board has to be a solid board, and the top board has to be a solid board. But I am able to use some scraps to put this together, because this is the edge of the doorway. The doorway is gonna be, that's the edge of it right there. Now, for now, I just put a support on the other side to tie it all together, and then I can go back when I'm ready to add a door put the frame in, cut it out, put the hinges, lock set, and then have a functioning door. For now, the male and female are gonna be in the enclosure together for the time being. All right, so while I finish these last 3 boards and then the top board in here, Kagan is going to use the staple gun on the wall we finished, and she's gonna go through with the 1-inch galvanized staples and put a staple every 4 inches on the top and then every 2 inches along the bottom, as long as it's grabbing that board. Normally we do something special around the doorway, but I think we'll just go ahead and seal it up for now, and I can always take the staples out when I do the door. We're on the exciting step of cutting off any exposed screw tips that a monitor could rub its face against. And you guys can see those little needle points. And then also there should be, let's see, I don't know if I've done this board or not. Yes, here they are. The staples from stapling the screen down that penetrate through. So all that has to be cleaned up before an animal's put in here, because they could do a lot of damage. So Kagan's gonna do that while I'm moving the shelf into this back corner from the front corner where I just removed it. Since Alexander's shelf is already in the front, this shelf should have went in the back here. And then once this is done, I could finish the wood strips that stop that male from being able to access this male. So there should be wood strips over that, and that was temporarily off while we were doing this. But I did go back and put staples every 1-2 inches to make sure. And you can see some of the earlier staples already. So they say they're galvanized, but that's rust on them for sure. So better safe than sorry.
Okay, so I got all of the staples and the screws ground down. So now there is nothing for a monitor to accidentally catch themselves on and get a boo-boo from.
And now we have the hide box slabs forms set up. So I have it set up on both sides. Now I load them with dirt with a little channel or footer that's gonna go all the way down, and then I just put a little dirt up against the form so the concrete doesn't flow out. In fact, I make it deeper than this with the trowel. I actually get the form deeper than the form. The footer, if you want to call it a footer of the slab, the wall of the slab, deeper than the form. I am exhausted, guys. I really am exhausted. So I'm gonna get all that dirt in there. We were smart when we put the dirt in these enclosures. All of this extra dirt in here is for that, and there's a mountain of dirt in the next enclosure. So we don't have to bring buckets in. I can just take the square-headed shovel and scoop it in there, and then use the trowel to work it around. So I'm gonna do that, and the next step is pouring concrete. All right, so we're loading the slab. I filled it with dirt, compacted it, and now I am digging down a footer trough around it. That backside against the board doesn't need to be deep. Against the back wall, which is concrete, doesn't need even have the footer. And now this, I dig down, I'm not totally done, but like I said, about 2 inches, 2.5 inches below ground level. You'll see on the other side how deep I actually go. And then remember, I always tap on a corral board against the slab and then put the dirt back. That way a monitor can never dig down and get underneath their hide box slab.
So let's check out the other side real quick and see just how deep it goes. Pretty far down. All right, Jerry is taking the last of the concrete back over to the bar area, and we have managed to get these concrete slabs poured and finished. And we were trying to race because we've got a big rainstorm coming in about an hour. Actually, no, about 20 minutes from now. we got a rainstorm coming. So we were trying to very quickly get these slabs poured before the rain comes. So we'll look in on this one real quick. And that'll be completely fine if they get rained on a little bit. That won't be an issue for them. But we wanted to make sure that got done before it started pouring. And we've got Enclosure on the other side, just looking in. He's been observing what we've been doing, what we've been working on. Very curious as to what's going on over here.
Okay guys, it's 3 rainy days later. It's been raining just about at least half the day every day since we poured these slabs. So I need to get these forms off, and on both sides I already have one hide box made, so I could put the box in here. I guess depending on which side to put the wires out, it's gonna go on this side or that side. A lot of the enclosures have been flooded for this entire time. It's been, but you see, it hasn't rained yet today and everything's already dry. The slabs never went underwater. Alexander on the low side of his cage, which is, I would say it's 2.5 inches low, which is fine, because remember, we want to put some clean sand over this Okeechobee mud to hopefully end up with some cleaner animals and promote the grass and everything to grow in the enclosures. So this one is not going to get a lay box. I will put a plastic lay box in here. In that last video, Jane had laid eggs, so you could see she's very thin on the hips and very skinny for a blackthroat. She's going to get extra feedings in the coming days and weeks to get that weight back on for her. And I think we made a decision. We're actually going to sell Jane and focus on the 2 younger blackthroats for Onyx. You know, we put him with the older girl, and I mean, we can check in on Sapphire, but with Sapphire last, they are separated. How is she looking?
Still.
Very big. She's digging up her enclosure quite a bit, and yeah, she's got some serious belly weight. So we'll see. I'm starting to see her hips a little bit. She's coated in mud, so she's been digging. We do have her heat mat on her hide box, so we could see if we can get her to focus just digging her and laying her eggs in there, and hopefully in a really good spot this time. So we'll keep an eye on that. So the first thing I'm going to do is get this shelf unit built in this enclosure here. 2x2 wood strip for the door. This door is already made. We'll get this door hung. So we're just going to start plugging through this and see what work we can get done before the rain comes. I got the extra dirt off the floor, piled it up against that slab. I think I said before, ideally I would love the plant sod to hold that and let it shoot out through the enclosure later, but I plan on adding more substrate in here, so we're not going to stress that right now. I did, in the other enclosure, finish its shelving, so that's done. I piled up the dirt in the front. I still got to build the lay box, and I had 2 more 2x4s, so I got the first 2 ones done here. It's so funny, I'm looking at Frosty and I'm forgetting his name right now. Is it Glacier? Frosty and Glacier. Glacier is really catching up to Frosty. It's crazy how close those males are in size now. But we'll come back to this enclosure later. That's gonna be an expansion for this guy's female. And when we sell Jane, Frosty's female will go into Jane's enclosure. So that way I can separate those. And then on the end of this row will be Bubba. He'll have this enclosure. Even though I would like him somewhere more social, it's just where he ended up on that row. And then there's Frosty's female. She's holding a lot of weight, so we'll see. She hasn't started digging for eggs, but maybe when we give her an ideal lay box, Okay, we'll give you some space. Maybe when we give her an ideal lay box, maybe something will happen. All right, it's much later in the day now, and not as much as you think done visually, because out in the hallway, I didn't realize that the strips weren't here to be able to put on the lock sets for the door. So I had to do the wood strips above the door. There were some back there that I still had to finish, as well as all the stripping between what will be the water monitors on this side and the rock monitors here. So all of the stripping that had to be installed all the way around both enclosures, I also had to finish all that. And then I, feeling like I was getting a lot done, had all the dirt filled around the slabs, the hide box slabs, like I always do. I think I mentioned putting the sod on it, and then remembered I never installed the board that stops them from digging underneath that slab. So I'll show you in the enclosure Kagan is in. That board that's Tapconed in, she's already started putting the dirt back there, but it's all the way to the concrete slab, and it stops them from being able to dig in. I even build the lay box up against that when I do it. And there has to be a lay box in here later for the purpose of getting them in here right away. I don't even think we're gonna get the electrical in this video done. I think we're just gonna get plastic lay boxes. I will finish the hide box, the wood, the plants, get that stuff done. But I want that male sulfur out of the garage. He's to a size that he needs to be outside. And so like every day we walk by that enclosure, we're like, we gotta get him outside, we gotta get him outside. So I can always do the lay box while these animals are in here. That big 10 by 12 doesn't need a lay box built because the female will get the enclosure Jane is in once Jane finds a new home. So, and the pair going in here, the male will be in the next enclosure. So this one would need a lay box. And then like I said before, the last enclosure when we build it will be for Bubba. So very cool. Oh, and while I'm saying this, I saw something that is that looks like a female cycling, the way she is taking weight off of her stomach, laying in that very weird position. I don't want to disturb her, but they only lay in those weird positions when they're trying to take weight off their stomach because it's tender, it's sore, or whatever. We saw promising behavior last time, but we didn't see them lock. So maybe it's still coming, maybe it's next year, who knows. We'll see what happens. Maybe this is the beginning of a cycle. Be cool to have her in her new enclosure with a lay box when it all happens. All right, plugging away on this project. I've got the plants loosely set in place. I made this ramp a little, because the door is gonna be right here. It's a little steeper than I would have liked, but if I cut it exactly where I cut it, I could have used the additional length of that log to do the next enclosure. And I'm out of these logs, so that will get me one more enclosure along. While I'm doing this, look at this. This young male white-throat is trying to see if this female is receptive or not. I don't think she's ready. I think she's gonna run away from you, bub. Pretty funny. But in the bigger enclosure, this croton looks horrible right now, but it has tons of new growth on it. What was the issue with this? It was the drought. This one wasn't getting wet enough, and as soon as we got it wet enough, it's popping off again. So as soon as we get this sucker in the ground, the soil is nice and moist, it's gonna be fine in here. Hide box is ready. Oh, wait a second. Oh yeah, there is a heat pad in there. Not that we need it yet, but I have a little lay box we're gonna move this pair first in here, and then I still have to get a temporary lay box in the other enclosure. But for now, this is what it is. We want to add some different type of soil in here. We're going to add a different substrate on top of this substrate to keep them a little bit cleaner. I got to remember to do my job while I'm holding the camera as well. While Kagan is plugging away on her own. Stomp it down. So funny, if this was a plant we had bought, I would take so much care, or we would take so much care in the way it's planted.
Yeah.
These are plants that I dug up out of the woods area at the other property. We had a friend who worked for a landscape company, and all the plants that didn't make it, such half dead plants, would get dropped off, and I would go put them in my woods area, and everything would recover amazing. So that was actually something I did to get all these free plants that you see in all these enclosures. Were all that way. It's definitely helped out a lot, but we are going to run out at some point and have to start buying. What's it going to cost each plant? Like $30, $40, $50 a plant? But these we can farm. We can break them off when they get too tall. I see they are pretty tall, so we can always break one off, put it in a pot, and do the same here at this property. So we can kind of keep it going, but it doesn't make up for the destructive animals that...
Lily's already helped us out. There's 2 pieces of that Thai plant in her enclosure that are ready to propagate because we snapped them off.
Very good. So I think that's a decent place for it. It's not amazing. I really would have liked to put a collusia, which is that bushier green plant in here, which is doing really well, but we have a plan for all the ones we have in a pot. This plant does really, really well in the enclosures and creates good shade, but I have a plan for all the ones we have started. So it would be perfect in this enclosure. But again, we will get some different, watch the ants I can see are there.
Oh yeah.
Fully there. While she's digging this one in, I'm gonna go show you guys something else in the other enclosure, because I have their hide box built, but I think that I'm gonna take that new hide box and use it for the animal that will get transferred in their enclosure, and transfer their hide box with them. It's already got their scent, their everything on it, and it's the correct size. I am gonna end up with a couple smaller extra hide boxes in this move, but we'll use them for some smaller animals that will be going into row 4 in the future. So we're gonna get these in. I guess you guys didn't see the logs. I got all the logs in. You know, we still gotta do a lay box in here later, but I'm not worrying about that just yet. We're just gonna put a plastic one in here, and I am gonna transfer their water trays with them instead of putting new ones in here. That way I can just give them a hard rinse and it can be still used. And then I could put new ones with the animals that are going in their enclosures. So while we're doing this, there's a really good example of what Jane looks like. I know we showed this before. So that's Jane exhausted from laying eggs. She's as thin as a water monitor right now in the torso. Now there is Diamond. She is cycling. So look at her forward swelling on her stomach. After we feed today we're feeding rabbits, and not live, but we are feeding rabbit to the monitors today. After the feeding, we will open the door for Diamond and Onyx. Onyx is walking around, but we had just plugged the heat mat in, and she was just, this is Sapphire, all of her weight is, I know Kagan took a good picture. Her back is very arched. I don't know, I don't want to really upset her. It's very arched. She's very close to laying eggs. And she was just digging in her lay box right up against the heat pad. So I'm hoping she found that perfect temperature that she needed, and the eggs are gonna go where they should, which would be great. All right, so we're gonna keep plugging forward. I think our next scene is gonna be introducing these monitors to their enclosures. Okay, Frosty and his female Pebbles are first to be moved. So Kagan's gonna go in. Frosty's pretty easy to handle. I have a feeling the female will be a bit more... Oh, what? That's not like Frosty. He's definitely ready for a feeding. Hey, buddy. I think he's gonna be... Let me just close the door since she's gonna be unattended. But they're gonna enjoy the space. He's such a handsome guy. I cannot wait to get a cleaner substrate in here, so we can really see. It's gonna have a whole new enclosure to explore. What? Don't go in the lay box.
Oh my gosh.
That's funny. We'll let him.
What are you doing, Frosty?
We'll let this goober explore for a moment, and we'll go get his female. He made a dart in that little hole, which is good that he can't fit in there, because you don't want the male now he's going to try and squeeze in, so we'll see if that's going to be a problem. But it's better if she could fit and he can't, since they're being housed together for the next, I don't know, maybe a couple weeks. Girl. She's getting ready for a nice shed. She's got great weight on her.
Look at Tummy.
Yeah. Yeah, she's right about to have a big shed. She had a piece of skin hanging off of her, the top of her head, and it almost looked like she had a mohawk this morning.
All right, Pebbles. You want to go straight up on the shelf?
Sure. We'll let them get situated, and then the next step is to bring them some food shortly. But Frosty did give up on the lay box, which is a good sign. We don't want him obsessing over that. Still need to get some water in their tray here. We'll just let them explore around. They've got a whole bunch more real estate. And normally when they'll be together, they'll have this 10 by 12 and a 5 by 12 to explore together. So that's quite a bit of space for the two lizards when they're together. And then when they're not, the female will have her more privacy, security to feel better. But a 5 by 12 is still quite a large enclosure.
So in the few brief moments that we were getting this hide box moved over to the enclosure next to Frosty and Pebbles, Pebbles is already exploring that hide box. Lay box. She's already exploring that lay box. That is awesome. What do you think, Frosties? Frosty is also taking every opportunity to look at every corner of this new enclosure.
All right, and now we're about to move Glacier and Tundra. I know she was named something else, and we sat there and tried to think about it. We can't remember, so we just renamed her Tundra. It is what it is.
Tunny.
But we are going to, even temporarily, just get some small little scraps of wood, permanent marker, names. We're gonna start cementing these names to these animals.
So he was really hungry yesterday when I interacted with him.
So he's gonna be a little...
Step in the mud. See how good I can back up. A little squirmy, but I think they're gonna be happy. Whoop. I still move into the same size enclosure, so these guys are not getting more space yet. But as soon as we finish this next enclosure with the lay box, they will get, well actually, this one will not have the lay box. As soon as we finish this next enclosure, which only needs the log, the shelf finished, the slab, the hide box, the wall, and a door and door stops. Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff. only a whole bunch of stuff. All right, now she's grabbing Tundra. She's gonna be a little squirmy, but no problem for Kagan. Oh, pretty girl.
Poor girl, she takes a lot of abuse from him. I've seen him bite her across the nose so many times. Mistake bites when he's trying to get the food from her. It's good that she doesn't have any marks from it.
Oh, look at him scenting the enclosure already.
Marking his scent.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he sure is. He's dragging the base of his tail around and marking his spot. Now that hide box was Frosty and Pebble's hide box, technically. So he's gonna have that smell from those other two lizards in there. But they've been housed right next to each other this whole time, so it shouldn't be too much. I think this was specifically their water bowl, so it will have their scent on it. You guys hungry? Everybody's ready for a meal. Because of the rain, I think we're on day 5 without a meal in these guys. So it's been a long stretch, but it's been pouring rain, absolutely pouring. So we're gonna go ahead and process up that food. Do you see her going in? Mm-hmm. She's already digging, which is an amazing sign, because we haven't seen her dig at all in the other enclosure. Now she's in there and she's digging. I wonder if she doesn't have some eggs in her. She is digging away. That's fabulous. All right, we're gonna go get the food ready and see how they enjoy a meal. We're about to go in and give them both a feed.
You wanna try and come down? Try and come down. You got yourself up there. That's not your tray. I'll take her food happily.
There's so much fur on that rabbit. It's like you're swallowing a pair of Uggs. What is she doing up there? Did she even get that piece yet?
No, she just kind of crammed herself in the corner.
Don't eyeball the second tray. I see you, Frosty. You are so funny. Give her a meaty bit out of this one. There's some good.
I'm gonna have to go in there. I can't reach around the corner.
Just throw his to the middle.
Whoop.
There you go. Just gonna have to watch her tail. Sorry guys. Trying to walk around the water. Lizards' tails. Dogs.
If you smell it, I bet you'll want it. Just give it a little sniff. Just a little sniff. Close this door.
I know the dogs. That latch. Good. Frosty! Oh no, you already ate all of yours. I don't have any left. Is that camera food?
There she goes. Now she's eating. Oh, and she dropped it.
I know. That was a light meal. Huh. I'm sure. 100% of me smells like what you just ate. He's like, that shoe? Does it smell good? And so she, oop. That's funny. When I stopped looking, he did come after my shoes.
Yep.
Well, that's a good sign. They're in their new enclosure. They're eating. She's explored her lay box. He tried to, but couldn't fit. We still need to get the temporary lay box in for the others. Look, you can see the, no, that's not blood. That's actually, they always are interested in my shoes. Look at that. He doesn't want to quit. He wants to come right back to them. What you're smelling is that fur stuck on the tip of your nose is what you're smelling. So everything smells good. So she's swallowing a good bit. Kagan is trying to make sure that she gets her entire tray while she's up there.
He's eating the tiny bit of fur.
Tiniest bit of fur. Yeah. We'll have to come back in and hit him with some eggs tomorrow because that wasn't a significant enough of food for. I spread 2 rabbits amongst everybody. So that just gave everyone kind of a medium-sized meal.
And they were 10-pound rabbits, but. Oh.
Yeah, she dropped a piece. She's got it hanging all out of her mouth. Oh gosh. I wish I had gloves. That would help her. But she can't. She's gonna fall. Oh, there you go. Well, now you can eat. She went right to eating. That was
It's
a
like
pretty
a weird piece of spaghetti, huh? Pick up the chunk and it'll be easier to get it all down. There you go. Alright.
nice piece of leg.
Eat this before he comes. I got him up on the shelf, but he won't be there for long. Oh.
Oh, that nice piece of shed on her back. Good. There you go. There you go, girl. Oh, she's about the same color underneath. She is not bright white.
Unless that's 2 layers.
Yeah.
She made quick work of that.
He's coming down. Oh, Lord. Nothing else for you. Well, they seem comfortable in here. Let's check on the other two. Okay, yeah, a little whip. It's okay, you can whip me. Ooh, you're in the splash zone.
Mm-hmm. I'll take my time coming out.
Okay. Smart, she's using the tray to lure him away from the door. It's one thing to step around one, it's another thing to step around two. Now these guys know it's feeding time, so if I sit by the door, they'll hover by the door. So I'm gonna, oh look, he's head twitching, was just pursuing her again. She's clearly not ready yet. Very cool. Now we're on to the next two.
Where is she?
She's right in front of the door, but at least not on it. You may have to throw his tray in.
Oh, they both went after it.
Get her that, yeah, get her that good chunk. Day 5, they are super hungry. Sometimes it's good to get off your feeding schedule. These guys can get fat and lazy if you let them. Get a nice chunk in front of her. Now, you guys remember these two started out the same size when I got them. And that's the growth difference of this female to the male.
Hanging on was just this tail.
You are really making him chase that food down. It's awesome. She's being so cautious about it. Yeah. Well, only that, like I said, only that lay box to finish up, but I would say overall they're happy in their new enclosures.
Successful day.
Yep, it looks good, and we freed up 3 enclosures in that row, and we're probably gonna clean up and start filming the video for one of those first animals to be moved. All right guys, thanks for joining us. Until next time. Thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. See you soon.